Throughout history, various communities have chosen to isolate themselves to preserve their traditions and beliefs, creating worlds that seem almost untouched by time. One such community is the Haredi Jews, an ultra-Orthodox sect that follows Jewish law with extraordinary discipline and devotion. Their way of life is strictly governed by religious texts, and they reject many aspects of modern society in order to maintain their spiritual purity. Upon entering a Haredi home, the first thing you would notice is a small decorative case attached to the doorpost. This is the mezuzah, a sacred item containing handwritten verses from the Torah. Every devout Jew touches and kisses it when entering or leaving their home, believing it brings divine protection. If you were to ask the homeowner about their moving-in process, they might tell you that before settling in, they washed the entire house with a special ritual water to cleanse it from the sins of previous occupants. Dietary laws in this community are extremely strict. Pork, shellfish, and certain birds are strictly forbidden. But what is even more surprising is the absolute separation of dairy and meat. A cheeseburger is unthinkable, and drinking milk with a meat-based meal is completely forbidden. Food that complies with religious purity standards carries the kosher label, similar to the halal certification in Islamic countries. As you walk through their neighborhoods, you may hear a hasn't yet familiar sound. It resembles the Islamic call to prayer, but has a distinct character of its own. This is the Barachu, a prayer chanted from an elevated place to summon the faithful to worship. If you observe a Haredi person during prayer, you will notice their rhythmic movements, rocking back and forth while reciting prayers, bearing a resemblance to Islamic prayer rituals. Jerusalem and its surrounding areas are considered sacred land, where the presence of pigs is strictly forbidden. However, pig farms do exist in Israel. The solution? These pigs are raised on platforms to ensure that their feet never touch the soil. The most sacred day of the week for Haredi Jews is Shabbat, which begins on Friday evening and lasts until Saturday night. This is a time of complete rest and devotion. Work is prohibited, money is never touched, and driving is forbidden. If you visit a Haredi household before Shabbat, you might be asked to leave before sunset as they prepare for a day of uninterrupted worship. Israel enforces mandatory military service for all 18-year-old men and women before they can attend university. Men serve for 3 years, while women serve for 2. However, the Haredim are an exception. They do not serve in the military, arguing that military duties would interfere with their religious studies. Instead, they devote their entire lives to Torah study, refraining from any form of labor. The government provides financial support to sustain them, as their full-time occupation is considered to be prayer and scripture study. In Haredi society, women lead strictly segregated lives. They dress in long black robes, covering themselves entirely, and their primary role is to bear and raise children. Many remain continuously pregnant until their reproductive years naturally end. Some of them are even required to cover themselves within their own homes, including while showering. This community is almost entirely cut off from modern life. Television and the internet are forbidden. Men and women do not shake hands or sit together in public transport. Schools instill radical religious ideology, shaping children from a young age to follow a strictly devout path. Some companies even produce restricted mobile phones specifically for Haredi Jews, ensuring they do not have access to mainstream media or the internet. Israel follows a unique approach to preparing its youth for the future. After mandatory military service, young Israelis are encouraged to travel abroad, to South America, Africa, or Europe with financial support from the state. This experience broadens their perspective, enhances their understanding of the world, and helps them discover their passions before entering university. As a result, by the time they begin their higher education, they have a clear vision of their future. It is no surprise that nearly half of the world's startup companies originate from Israel. In Israel, civil marriages do not exist. The only recognized form of marriage is religious matrimony. Jewish law prohibits men from marrying non-Jewish women, based on the belief that Jewish lineage is inherited exclusively through the mother. Those who break this rule risk being ostracized by their community. Before the wedding, the bride and groom are forbidden from seeing each other for a week, and they must fast for an entire day before the ceremony. The primary purpose of marriage in Haredi culture is procreation, and celibacy is viewed as a violation of divine law. For the Haredim, free thought, personal ambition, and scientific education are virtually non-existent. Boys spend their entire lives in religious institutions, studying and interpreting the Torah. Many lack basic knowledge of science, technology, or economics, making them entirely unprepared for modern life. While the rest of the world advances through innovation, discovery, and progress, they remain confined to religious devotion from birth to death. On a flight, if you find yourself seated next to an ultra-Orthodox Jew, you may notice that they pray continuously. This is because Jewish law forbids flying over cemeteries, as doing so would bring spiritual impurity. Some even take extreme precautions, such as wrapping themselves in plastic to shield themselves from contamination during the journey. One such incident gained global attention when a Haredi passenger enclosed himself in a plastic bag for the entire duration of a flight. The Haredim live in a world entirely separate from modern society, a world where technology is rejected, critical thinking is discouraged, and life revolves entirely around religious doctrine. This is a way of life that has remained unchanged for centuries, but as the modern world evolves, one question remains: can this ancient way of living continue to survive in a rapidly progressing world? Thank you for watching, and until next time, see you in the next video.